facing bar to bar. I learned to chase the pain and arm the scars. And my tail fire, that's a Charizard. And we aim higher than the Taj Mahal.
Working, but was not working. I even punched that up a little bit. Josh, say something. Okay, I'm gonna turn that down a little bit. But then I'm gonna say I'm good. How you doing? And I'm gonna say, say a little bit so I can see how your levels are at. You know what I'm saying? Give me a little something. Okay, they still can't hear you. So you know what? And maybe it's the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Let me see here. Discord. This should be working. Talk to me. Can you? I don't even know if you're coming through. Yeah. If I go to properties here, folks, we like to include you. For all one people in the live chat, we appreciate you. It's probably It's a Beanie. Thank you for being there. It's probably Josh. Okay. Well, you know what? Then this is good. Even better. What do you want to make a story or something while I try to figure out your audio? Oh wait, hold on. Say something.
Yo, what's up?
Yo, okay, there you go. You're loud as fuck, but you're good. Okay. So, are you ready? I'm just going to record the intro.
Yeah, go for it.
Welcome to the Dragon Ball Fan Podcast. My name, that was weird, the way I said podcast. I don't know why. I'm going to do that again. Welcome to the Dragon Ball Fan Podcast. My name is Michael, but you can call me Kaiser. My co-host, though, is the Vegeta Preacher. He is Sky, everybody. Also goes by Josh. How you doing?
Not bad. You? How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right.
Got some tech issues again. Let's go. The streak continues.
Continues. Yo, we got to keep it authentic. All right. Listen, people didn't need to know about the tech issues. All right. In the VOD, we're going to chop that shit out. We're not going to waste people's time. But you know what? We're real out here. All right. A real garbage truck on fire mentality. But we appreciate you standing by. We have a really good episode today. We, honestly, earlier today, we were bouncing some ideas back and forth. Like, we were trying to think of something that we could prep for properly. And like, we had a couple ideas, one of which we will explore next week, where it was just going to take too much time to do it today. But look out next week for casting the live action Dragon Ball movie. We are going to come together, collaborate, and we have to, Josh, I don't know if you understand this part. We have to agree. Like, we have to be like, this is Goku. This is Vegeta. Like, it's not like you have yours, I have mine.
Okay, but we got to just do like the main like 5 people, because there's no way we're getting like 14 of the Z fighters. You know what I mean? Like, I think we should just stick with like 5 or 6 people.
Okay, but we also need to do Frieza.
Why?
We have to cast Frieza, and I'm not saying it's like makeup, and I'm saying like if it's done very well, who's voicing it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I mean, I have one for Krillin already. So.
Is it me?
No, it's not you. Definitely not you. Either Krillin or Pilaf. I got one for either Krillin or Pilaf.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is it's not very complimentary when you put it that way to the actor.
No, it is.
Let's bring Pilaf into it.
No, Pilaf is cool, dude.
I mean, yeah, Pilaf's the pig, right?
No, Pilaf is Emperor Pilaf.
I don't remember. Hold on.
Emperor Pilaf? This guy.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, that's even worse. That is even worse, dude. Also, how long is your cable? Is it like 30 feet or?
It's pretty long, yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I also live by the long wire mentality. This is currently wrapping around from the back of the computer, but it's way too thin. That's one thing I don't like. Goku, do you think you could hold on to this for me, maybe? Thanks, my guy. So we are going to get into some of the things that Dragon Ball hasn't done. And so obviously we'd like to forget that the Dragon Ball live action movie did happen, in that next week we will also be talking about something that hasn't happened. But this week, this episode, we're going to do it. We're going to talk about some of the things that hasn't happened. Now we're going to talk about the show, but we're also going to talk about from outside of the manga, but we're also going to explore outside of that as well. So we have some other interesting ideas. I have one I'm really excited to talk about. I think, Josh, I really do think you're going to love it. Okay. I do think if you hate it, I'm going to cry on stream for the first time. Okay. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, what do? Do we just get into this? We got Alexa in the chat as well. And then we got another person just jumped into the chat as well. So thank you for coming in, guys. We kind of just did the intro, and we're about to get into, I think, some of our answers. As you saw by the thumbnail, as you came in, we're going to talk about things that haven't been explored yet by the Dragon Ball IP in general. Josh, did you want to go first, or did you want me to go first?
I mean, I can start off.
All right, send us.
So I got one here, and actually, I didn't remember this because we are on the channel. We plan on doing Dragon Ball reactions because Mike and I have not watched it in a very long time.
Since we watched it.
Yeah, since we've watched it, and like I said previously, the last time I've even engaged in anything Dragon Ball was reading it. So it's been a while. So I actually had to like do a bit of research because I'm like, I need to make sure. And there was one person, I totally forgot about this person, but having vampires in Dragon Ball, I think would be really, really cool. And there is one person. So actually, there's technically two, but there's one canon. There's one in Fusion Reborn. I forgot his name, but he's one person from Hell, whatever, in Fusion Reborn. But there's actually one who's in Baba's one of Baba's fighters in the Dragon Ball arc, and his name is Fangs the Vampire, and he's some creepy looking dude. But it would be cool if we explored more on vampires. Yo, he looks kind of cool though.
Fangs is coming in hot, everybody. You worry.
Hey man, I'm telling you right now, when we start watching again, Fangs might be the new Lemmo, bro. That's all I'm saying. Fangs might be the Lemmo.
Don't do that. Lemmo's got me out here looking for Blue Apron. All right, put some spec.
Dude,
some spec.
I don't think there's anyone in the Dragon Ball verse who has given water to Vegeta quicker than Lemmo has. I think that's a crazy feat, dude. Like, that's insane that he can even do that.
Have you ever heard Vegeta complain about not having access to water? Especially
the water that Lemmo gave him. That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I think
it's time we get a line. We need some spec on Lemmo. We need Vegeta to take a sip out of that water and go, "Thank you, Lemmo." Boom. Yeah. That's Ultra Instinct moment. Okay, so we have Fangs on screen. Love this. Do you have anything else to touch on before I get to dive into what you're talking about?
I actually think it would be cool if we had some sort of villain. So Mike and I have actually talked about this, and we'll definitely talk about it a lot more later on when Super eventually comes back in the manga, and when we dive into it more with our community. But on how much we actually liked Moro's design and how unique he was in compared to other characters and other villains. I mean, don't get me wrong, Moro is definitely not the best Dragon Ball villain. I think we can all probably name at least two villains probably better than Moro. I would say at least two. You could probably argue three.
Majin Buu.
Yeah, you can say Majin Buu as well, right? But in terms of design, I think he's up there with a lot of the greats. I mean, I would never put him close to Frieza because I think Frieza's design is just insanely good, and it's just so iconic. I mean, Cell's too, but in terms of like the uniqueness, like people looked at Moro and be like, this is not a Dragon Ball villain. Like this is probably something a lot different. And I feel like if we had something like a vampire as a villain, but like he had some sort of the vampire-ish traits, but he was as quick as someone like a Super Saiyan Blue Goku or like a Master Ultra, it would just be so cool. Like we never see in Dragon Ball people fighting with like claws out and like biting, really. Like that would be so cool instead of just always the boxing. It's just a different style, and it would be really cool to have like some sort of like ruthless, like bloodthirsty freaking villain, or even like just a character in general that they like, almost like a granola type character where it's like in the beginning of an arc they're like, oh whatever, you oh but you okay, there's a bit of a misunderstanding, and you kind of see this person like maybe like a Ceruleans but like a vampire race itself. And the reason why we don't see them is because most of everywhere is light and they can't be in the light, so we go to a planet that's only dark. I don't know, something like that. It'd be very interesting because then you would have to get like, it would be a whole different mind game where it's like, okay, like yes, everything is dark, but we really got to be cautious now. Yeah, sure, we're fast, but we can't. These guys are strong, so you never know. That'd be cool.
Sky is cooking with gas, everybody. When you took that into, and then they have to go to this world where it's always dark. Oh my! You basically. You know what's cool about that is you almost give us Super Saiyan 4 blind Super Saiyan 4 Goku moment.
Oh yeah, you know yeah.
If they could do even somehow like some sort of visual references in that and like point to like to pay homage, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
But I love that whole idea. Vampires are cool, they are different, and they're familiar.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many things that they can already lean on, both from a combat perspective, yes, but also from a humor perspective as far as is it garlic?
Yeah.
And shit like that. So yeah.
And I don't think people would hate it. I think the only reason why people might dislike it is if it's like, okay, there's vampires on Earth. It's like I mean, we have like 11, 12 universes we should be exploring right now. If we actually went to a planet that had the race of vampires itself, that would make it be like, oh, okay, like that adds up. Like that's different. Cool.
Yeah,
like,
but also, why not Earth? Earth is where we invented the idea of a vampire, right? That's where the myth and the lore all started.
Yeah,
on a
for sure.
planet where you have dinosaurs that are still around, and you have all these different species that exist and live on this planet. Why would it be weird if we had a vampire? You know what I mean? As far as we got Fangs here too, he's legit proof and evidence that they're here. And Josh, I would love if they played with that. That'd
be cool.
Okay. So my first one is I'm gonna start with because you started off strong. I'm gonna go with my strong one, and I'm gonna try to mentally build up the next one a little bit. Okay.
All right.
With Dragon Ball, there are so many incredible characters. We will be reminded of their interesting stories very shortly as we go and we explore Dragon Ball, getting into Zeev, and just as we watch back and watch stuff, like we're reminded of incredible fights between Tien and Roshi and Shiatsu and Krillin. These are characters we love. All right, they did something over many years, and that is make these characters feel like people to us. Like literally, we love these characters. Why is there not, or why couldn't there be a spin-off show just covering the Z Fighters? We are exploring these incredible spectacles across multiple universes, as Josh just talked about. That is awesome. But there's something about the grounded experience that we've always loved about Dragon Ball. And we don't need to go back to Kid Goku. We can just continue to explore those characters that hand in hand made Dragon Ball an incredible thing. Having more of a build up with Yamcha, with Tien, with Krillin, with his relationship with 18. That'd be so cool to like get a little bit at least, like watching the kids grow, social dynamics with Goten and Trunks being teenagers. Like like there's so much they could do there. And that's one that I thought of today immediately. And I was like, I would love that.
So are you asking more for like some sort of like slice of life type of spinoff? Not really an action one, but more like, let's get more of like, of the characters themselves. Like, let's get like a 12 episodes of like a slice of life. Because I feel like the issue is, I have no issue with it being like 24 episodes or even more, as long as it's interesting. But like, you gotta understand, a lot of Dragon Ball people would be like, yo, where's the fighting at? So it's like, I don't know how long that would work. I like the idea.
It would need to
I'm
be
good with
taken.
it being long.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I think like it would need to be something that is taken on by a separate studio that is entrusted. You know, Dragon Ball as an IP has had an opportunity through the crazy amount of years to work with many different publishers, and publishers, many different, to get connected. All right, to get immersed and networked. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, a different studio went off and did GT. That's, you know, you can say whatever you want about that, but I think it wouldn't be too hard to put together a tight team of people you trust to work on this project, or at the very least oversee it and really have a tight eye on it. And, you know, all you need is someone who is at least half as passionate as, you know, the Toriyama and there's so many people obviously, that can just like really spearhead that and at least like be part of dictating like the direction, so it really has that feeling. Because I think what we're about to get into with Dragon Ball is really special. It's such a special show. The feeling it gives you watching it, the world they create, yeah, like I just love to get back to Earth and just stay at Earth. And as far as like you said, slice of life, yeah, slice of life meets adventure and
comedy.
A comedy. No threat bigger than a Turtles or a Raditz. No, like, but yeah. I'm okay with something like that.
Mm-hmm. But there's like
maybe the final episodes or the big bad.
Yeah,
you know.
But there's like more drama instead. So like, for an example, maybe we have some sort of episode, like you could literally make it so it's like, is there any moment in time that Capsule Corp just went like downhill in stocks? Like, were people just afraid of using? So for example, like, not to get too into it, but you know, nowadays we have things like AI and people are they don't want to use it yet. They're like, okay, maybe let's wait on. I think most people are okay with AI. They're just more like on the fence of it now. They're like, is it ready yet? Blah, blah, blah. Maybe people have felt like that with Capsule Corp, right? Where it's like, okay, like this is very advanced stuff, but is this dangerous for us currently? Maybe we get like some sort of episode where we really understand briefs and, you know, Bulma, and they're like, you know, like we gotta, maybe like we get more of like an in-office thing on like, okay, maybe we need to do this new product or this new this, so to help this out. Like, it would be really cool to understand Capsule Corp from the inside out, too. And I think we can get something like that from something that you're kind of saying here.
100%. I love that. That's a whole other, like, it could literally, Capsule Corp is so cool, and
it's
the
so
lore
cool.
is so
cool.
deep that they could do a Capsule Corp show as well. Like, if they wanted to, they could make so much more money. And that's a crazy thing to say.
It is.
From a
I'm sorry, not it is. It's true. Yeah.
It's true, right? I mean, look, like this, it is true, but at the same time, like, it has, I believe, on multiple years, had the highest grossing film in Japan. Like, that is, and that this is an IP that not only gets its release there, it does get it releases here in North America as well. And we're seeing those releases, I noticed, stay longer as well. Like, now we have a couple of weeks where it's in. It used to be like it was here for like a weekend or whatever.
Yeah.
So the popularity is growing back here again. You have the eyes on there. People finally got in and saw Super, and then started watching some Z stuff. Like, people are back in the IP. Now is the time to spin off and do Capsule Corp. Especially now you have, coming off of that last movie, Capsule Corp got even more interesting.
Yeah,
the
it did.
folks you have over there, right? that is incredible. You have Trunks. Maybe you get a future Trunks arc somehow. He comes back and it's less to do with combat and something to do with I don't know. But anyways, there's so much lore.
Like he has to come back and he has to ask Bulma that's like, oh, like my mom did this, but she never wrote this down for me when she passed or whatever. Can you help me out with this? And we get kind of like this mini arc. I'm like, okay, yeah, we're trying to get this done. Or maybe Bulma goes back there and you kind of see during that time jump from Goku Black to where we are now in the superhero arc that's just finished of like how everything how they structured everything back up, like their civilization and stuff. That'd be cool too.
That'd be really, really cool. And the last part I'll mention on the Capsule Corp I love is that you also have Emperor Pilaf. How do you say his name again? Emperor Pilaf?
Pilaf, yeah.
Pilaf. I know I said Emperor Pilaf and little Young May and that trio again.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so much you can play with.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah. So that's like my big one. That was one
very
I'm proud of. I love
very
the idea too.
Inspired though by some OG Dragon Ball 2 though, which is good. That's a good thing. I mean, OG Dragon Ball doesn't only have. I mean, there's a lot of combat in OG Dragon Ball 2, but when some of our people who are joining for the reactions are really gonna realize, especially people like Alexa, they're gonna be like, whoa, Z is a lot of combat, but Dragon Ball, there's a lot of comedy. There's a lot of small little parts where just like, oh, they're just adventuring off to like certain areas. Like, sure, like there's adventures in like maybe Goku like cooks up a dinosaur and stuff, but it's not like actual combat. It's like comedic as shit, right? It's like Bulma's looking at this dude cooking up a dinosaur and he's like this feet tall. It's just really funny. So I don't know. It's just really cool that we will get. And why I'm saying that is because we can get like stuff like that with like someone like Pan or something in the slice of life setting too. Where it's like, imagine Pan has that little dinosaur thing like her father did, Gohan, with Icarus. Like maybe Pan has some sort of Icarus type of dinosaur friend growing up with her. Like that'd be really cool too. That little parallel. So,
dude, you could even just call it Gohan, and it's Gohan's household. Are you kidding? Like. Anyways, also I have to inject this before I send it off to you on your next point. Is you could have a martial arts tournament.
Yeah.
With the Z fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. And let's say everyone else is fucked off somewhere else. Yeah. Imagine having everyone there and like you get some cool, cool fights again, right? Yeah. More even.
Yamcha's having a beer with Krillin after work. Krillin's like still got his uniform on. He's like, you gotta get in the tournament, man. Come on, you gotta do it. What am I gonna train with? I'm gonna train with Tien. That fucker's over there training with the short kid.
It would be a cool interaction if like everyone gets to like Bulma's house or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, ready for the? You guys all want to go to the tournament?" Blah blah blah, right? And then Android 18's like, "Yeah, I'm down." And then Krillin's like, "No, sweetie, please, it wouldn't be fair. Let's just let us humans please do this. Just one time. I will win." It would be so funny because if Android 18 was there, she would demolish all of them. Like no chance. This is the same person who was kicking it out with Moro, so it's like. You guys don't want any part of 18, bro. Any part of it.
I think she's beatable. I think that 17 would probably show up in that situation as well. There'd be some sort of wildlife project that he'd want to fund.
Right? Yeah, maybe, yeah.
So, I mean, heck, there could be a show about, just call it 17. Let's see what he's been doing. How's he been trained? Anyways,
it'd be cool because just before we get to the next thing, but like, what mangas tend to do sometimes they'll have like these little side stories, too. So like for an example, let me just actually get it real quick. I'll show you. It's a very, very popular anime. It's called Reincarnated as a Slime, and it's called an isekai. It's exactly what Inuyasha is. It's where you're brought into a different world, basically. And this person did Dragon Ball. That time I got reincarnated as Yamcha. So you get like these interesting, cool side stories of like, and these different interactions and with phenomenal art too. Of Yamcha just doing a bunch of things, and he's just like he's the main guy. Like, I'm Yamcha. And it's really cool. You get like these cool little side stories where he's like, he goes into like different animes basically too, and it's just really funny. You see Dr. Gero, you see Beerus Champa, Yeah, and these cool little side stories would be cool for stuff like that we were just talking about too, where we can have these different characters have these little side stories that maybe become canon, but they just don't want to animate it or just can't animate it because of the time schedule. It'd be cool to have, because I would love to collect everything Dragon Ball. Really, I mean, that's why I got this. I haven't even read it yet, but when I do, I'll definitely put it on our TikTok or review it.
That's awesome. Gotta call out the comment. These came in actually quite a while ago. We have Alexa in the chat. So I'm gonna read the most recent one here. Deeper look into the side characters' lives, but also still having the action would be cool. Maybe smaller feats and fights, while the bigger characters are away on for some unknown reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, for sure. And like I could see there being crossover between the, obviously in the original in Super there is crossover, but there could be crossover. Goku's here. They always come back for a little bit. So yeah, I think that'd be cool. She also really liked the vampires idea. That would be really cool. Yeah. And also It's a Beanie is back.
Welcome back.
How you doing? Josh, what is your next one?
All right, I'm gonna go with my weakest one now because I've already talked about it a little bit. I kind of more just want you to talk about it a bit, but it's just Dragon Ball is a shonen, and one thing that a lot of shonen manga tend to do is have this big event arc. Now, I know you could say the Tournament of Power was kind of what that was, but I feel like we need something even more grand, and I think that's why I'm really loving Kakame, for an example. And by that grand, I mean some sort of war arc. Now, this little thing here is kind of going to tie into the third thing I'm saying, but the third thing I think is a lot more important personally. This is more of just a really want thing that Dragon Ball has weirdly enough not done ever since it's introduced all these universes. I think a tournament thing is fitting for Dragon Ball because it's always had tournaments. I get that. But I mean, when you have a lot of people with different motives in different universes, like people like Frost and people like Hit and people like Mojito, who's the angel of universe 8 or whatever it was, or 7, not 7, 8 or 9 or whatever it was, that he was like grinning when his universe went poof.
Yes.
It's just interesting. There's a lot of different motives, and I think a war arc would be fitting for a lot of these universes to get back together, because it's not like a lot of these characters that Goku and Vegeta have not grown attached to, but kind of had some sort of relationship with on the battlefield, are evil people. So like Jiren is not an evil person. Hit is not necessarily an evil person. There's people, Kaba, you got people like Kaba, so it's like you can kind of have like some sort of two sides of the spectrum, and Kakame has kind of opened my idea to this a bit more in the canon world. Just obviously it'd be a little different, maybe not having, without trying to spoil if you haven't read Kakame, but without having some sort of character locked up for it to actually start, but to start because of something even bigger than that, something more grand than just one person or one thing. Something that collectively would screw up a bunch of universes or just someone's mortality as a whole, I think would be a lot better. So.
Okay. So I have the image on screen here actually from that angel. What was the name you said?
Mojito.
Mojito. Sorry, someone just jump into the chat real quick. Hold on. I just saw it pop up, but then I lost it. Oh, yeah. Hello, Eddie. How you doing?
What's up?
Okay. So I'm trying to, I kind of forgot where we were at here.
Oh, the war arc is what I was saying.
The war arc, yes. So very inspired, of course, by Kakame. Love that idea. I think that's true because, like we always talk about, it's always about increasing the intensity and the stakes. And so how do you increase the stakes after what we just came from? And like you said, if you feel like there needs to be something grander, if Super isn't done, if we aren't just going to come back to Oob, then yeah, there needs to be something. Obviously, we're getting a Black Frieza, but I think that very much, could be tied to the theory that you've had in the past. Black Frieza kind of being in cahoots with Mojito over here, and potentially doing something behind the scenes that kind of starts and prompts it. I love that. I think honestly at this point, I am sitting with it where it's like, I don't see how you don't do it. Like, I think your idea is, I think that idea is so good. I don't like, where would you want to take it if not to have some grand out of control battle, not under rules battle between the universes? And who else would be able to manipulate everybody into doing this, or manipulate the right people into making this happen? It's Frieza, okay?
Yeah.
With the assistance of this piece of shit angel, Mikito, I could totally see that happening. Clearly, they're queuing something up with them. It seems like they're queuing something up with the Grand Priest as well. There's something sketch about the Grand Priest. I am convinced there's something sketch about him.
I grin.
I'm telling you. I think they'd be stupid not to go in that direction. Clearly, we have Black Frieza that's canon. That has to be coming up. We're gonna see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna see, dude.
We'll see what happens.
I love that. Okay, yeah. My next one is another one that I'll say sort of is kind of weak from the same reason. It's something that we've, I think, discussed on here. It's something I feel very strongly about. I think it's tough to do from a business perspective because Dragon Ball as a series, Dragon Ball, has been removed for a while. We've had Dragon Ball Z, but Dragon Ball as an IP, specifically that one show, has been far removed. So I would love to play as Kid Goku in an open world where I could explore Earth on the Nimbus with my staff and have an incredible adventure, go through literally from the beginning the story of Kid Goku. And maybe we can fly around and go to certain points and do things a little out of order, and that's fine. But dude, the kind of world that we've talked about this entire episode, to be in it and to have some freedom to explore it in the way that we all wished that we could on the flying Nimbus when we saw it, would be sick.
It would be. Yeah. It'd be so funny though, where it's like, okay, I have the Nimbus, but like you try to sit on it, but they're like, yeah, you're not worthy of it though. So like you make your character or whatever, and it's just like, oh yeah, dude, I want to get the Nimbus. And they just look at your IGN, they're like, yeah, your name is Sexy Mike 69, and they're like, yeah, dude, you're just not worthy of this Nimbus, bro. You're just gonna have to run around. I'm sorry to tell you that. And you're just like, fuck, I gotta make a new IGN, I gotta make a new character. Dude, that'd be hilarious. They're like, yeah, your IGN just doesn't.
That would be so funny, and I wish that they would do that. I was wondering what that sound was. It sounded like someone was knocking at my door, but it was my cat kicking up a litter.
I think I was hearing that earlier too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully it was
off duty.
Good. So that way, it makes it into the clips. Yeah. So that's basically what I have now. The accent to that, the extra piece to that, is that maybe there's a way for that to get explored through Daima. If Daima really, if we get a game about Daima, Kid Goku, Kid, all these people, having that adventure play out through a game, and then to have maybe a large expansion DLC. I could see that fitting in. And I think that largely the people who would be buying Daima probably would be people that would want, got Daima the game, would be the people that would also want to buy and play what we're talking about.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that'd be cool, man. I'm curious to know if you got one more, right? You said you have a third one.
Yeah, I do have like an honorable mention, but we can go to that one after. If you want. My last one is the one I want the most. There have been moments like this, not really the first part, but more the second part. There's been moments, but there's no actual hard hits anymore, and that is emotional moments. I think Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z have emotional moments. That's not what I'm saying, but I don't think they linger on long enough. So what I mean by that is, and I'm just gonna let you all know right now, I'm gonna say some things, especially in Z. If you have not watched Z, it's from I'm sorry to tell you, bro, it's from the 80s and 90s. It's a Dragon Ball fan podcast. I'm gonna talk about Dragon Ball.
Clear.
But like for example, to me, the most emotional moment is not Vegeta's sacrifice. I think that's the second most, and I think it's really good. But I actually think it's those dialogues that, you know, Vegeta telling Goku like he's got to beat Frieza, he's got to kill Frieza, and he can't be the way that he is. I think it's such an underrated moment, and I think it was beautifully written. I mean, I think in I've seen it in manga now, and I've seen it in anime, and I think they both just did a phenomenal job. And I think that's how you perfect a scene in a most emotional way, but also giving this character Vegeta, who has been playing this anti-hero this whole arc, just some more, like you kind of start liking Vegeta at that moment. At that moment, you're just like, damn, this is why he is the way he is. Yeah, like this is why he's the way he is. And I think Dragon Ball Z, even Dragon Ball Z after that fact, I think it does have some sort of lacking in that department, just because of my point that's also in here, is that there isn't much stakes. And what I mean by that is, even though Vegeta sacrificed himself, he was still somehow able to get his body back because he was protecting Earth, even though just 50 chapters before that, Yema said only people who are like actually approved, like Goku is approved because he's been his whole life, you know, he's been a great person, and only like one in like how many people can do that. But you had people like Piccolo keep their bodies, Krillin, like all the people that we know somehow hit their bodies. Just didn't make sense to me. It was just a plot device. I was just like, okay, like all the main characters get it because they're main characters. I don't think that should have been how it was. So when Vegeta sacrificed himself, it should have been like he can only come back if by the Dragon Balls, but he shouldn't have been able to come back with like his full body. Like when he went to hell, he shouldn't have had his body intact. But I think the issue with Dragon Ball is you get put in this, well, episode 1, you know about these Dragon Ball things, but I think there should be a limit. I think that's the issue. I think that the fact that we don't have a limit on how many times we can use these Dragon Balls really causes these stakes to be like, okay, like, I mean, we can just revive them again. It's no problem. But it's like, there should be a window where it's like every time you use it, you cannot revive someone, or you cannot use it for 5 years or something, where it's like, okay, how about if we get into some war and like, let's say Tien actually dies. Like he legitimately dies. You cannot see him no longer. The only time you can
only die so many times.
Yeah.
What if there's a cap?
Exactly. Like if Tien were to actually die and not come back, like I'd be like, oh shit, like what the fuck? But he goes out like swinging, like it's like the best fight he's ever had, no, like better than his Dragon Ball fights. And you know, if people here have not watched Dragon Ball yet, you will know what I'm talking about. But like Tien has so many good moments. If you like Tien and Z, you will love Tien in Dragon Ball, especially in his combat. And he gets a fight better than what he did in Dragon Ball, but like at the end of it, he just couldn't win and he dies. It's just like, oh my fucking, like, what the fuck? Like, that just happened, and we can't wish it, and there's no bullshit to get him back out there. I think is perfect. Like, I think that's what we need. We need a part in Dragon Ball that's just like, oh, like, yo, like some tears maybe come down, or just like, what the fuck? Like, what does this mean in the future? Like, can other people start dying now? Like, is this what's happening? This is what they're doing, and I think that's okay. Like, I wouldn't mind if someone like Tien permanently passed, like in the future, not now, but like later on. I don't think that's bad for a story. I think it adds growth. I think it's like, okay, yeah, Tien is gone, but he had his story for years, for 40 fucking years. He's had his story. It ends here, and it wasn't a good way, like stuff like that. And I think that's something that the Dragon Ball IP lacks in really badly sometimes. Where it's just like we had this tournament of power, and it's like we know damn well we're not getting a race. Like, come on, dude. Like, yeah, we're doing this tournament of power, but we're just here for the action. There's no actual stakes. Come on. So that's just my whole spiel, because yeah, it's a shonen, yes, it's a battle manga, yes, it's a comedy, but I mean, we had people pass. There's like in Dragon Ball, right? We had people pass in Z, right? But it's the Dragon Balls itself that caused this issue to constantly reoccur. They come back to life, they die, they revive. You know what I mean? It's just it's a constant cycle that kind of gives you like these mental gymnastics where it's just like, I mean, he's gonna come back anyway, right? So it doesn't really matter. It's just always in the top of your head. It's just like, okay, it doesn't matter if Vegeta dies here. We're just gonna revive him in the next arc. What does it matter?
So, okay, here's my suggestion, and this is I'll use this as my 0.5, my 2.5, or it'll just be a build on of yours.
Mm-hmm.
What if the solution is not that you bring in GT, but that you bring in the final arc of GT with the Dragon Balls, the sort of wishes that Bulma has had, that she has made, that all people made. They're selfish. They whatever. I think you could do a rule for sure. That's a simple one where it's just like, oh guys, by the way, I was just talking to Shenron. I don't know. We're at the cafe, and he was telling me that you can't die more than 5 times. And Tien just goes like, "Oh shit, I've died 4 times already." You know,
that's funny. I got a counter, bro.
Yeah,
poor Yamcha's like, "Fuck, I've done like 9. How the fuck am I still here?"
Krillin is pushing. We might have to increase it from 5, but for Krillin. But yeah, I think it'd be an easy solution. But then I'd love for them to also bring in that, like, okay, we have the dragons come, the Shadow Dragons. We have a lot of that influence. I would love the same designs. Give us a lot of what made that special. And then at the end, the Dragon Balls are gone.
Yeah.
They're just gone.
There's no more. That's it.
And then I don't know what happens after Super. I don't know if they intend to like hand off the roles for Super. I don't know if they intend to continue to have Goku and Vegeta be at the forefront for a lot longer. But there are definitely some interesting directions that they can take this in. And I think that having something like that where the Dragon Balls went away presents you with the opportunity now to kind of like take a breath, take a step back, and maybe reduce the expectations a little bit.
Yeah.
Goku and Vegeta are off doing godly shit, and now we're back with a lot of other awesome characters, but maybe taking on slightly less crazy shit than multiversal shit.
Yeah.
And so the stakes are still very high, but it's less like the whole fucking universe is coming after, or universes. I don't know. But yeah.
I think it'd be interesting too, because it's like, if there's no more Dragon Balls, we would get like that. Well, I would hope we would get some sort of scene where it's like Chi-Chi gets old and Goku's still a bit younger, Bulma's getting old, and Vegeta's still like young, and you kind of have this part where it's like they see their wives pass kind of deal. And that emotional, like, imagine like we actually see like Vegeta there just like actually like crying like this, but no one watching, and like Trunks to still be there, of course. Obviously he's younger, but not only that, but he's also a Saiyan. You have people like that, even people like Bolo would be there, but it's just like, yeah, like, and then it's like that's the end of that. That's the end of that family, basically, in that sense. Where it's like, okay, now Trunks has to have a kid, and like it'll continue, and then that torch will be crossed. But imagine if someone like Bulma passed. Like if Bulma actually passed away, that would hit, bro. I'm not gonna lie, that would actually hit.
They did try to pull on those heartstrings a little bit in the Goku Black era. That was that was interesting how they poked at that. Yeah, I would love for them overall to sit and stuff a little longer and to really have you feel something as well. Like yeah.
It's so funny, Mike, because it's like we're talking about all this shit, but if it actually happened, we'd be like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like if it actually happened, we'd be like, oh my god, this actually, why the fuck did we wish for this and all this? Like, no, we don't actually want Bulma gone, but it's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, but then Bulla is right there, and maybe Bulla takes it on and Bulma ends up being like, maybe she's not as smart as Bulma, or not naturally as talented or gifted as Bulma is, but she's trying to figure it out. And it's like, that's a whole other perspective to running Capsule Corp that is really cool, because probably when Bulma is like the age that Bulma is, Bulma's parents probably won't be there. So it's gonna be like that narrative of like Bulma just trying to figure out how the fuck to handle Capsule Corp. That would be sick too.
Yeah, you know what's interesting though? I feel like Trunks would be the one to handle it just because of how we've always seen it. Like Trunks is actually pretty tech savvy. To be honest with you, Trunks, funny enough, is actually pretty smart. Like he actually is. He's actually a pretty smart dude. So I feel like that might happen, but obviously I think Bulma would be part of that too. But maybe like the president, like in GT, like Trunks would be like the president or something, of Capsule Corp.
Yeah.
Like maybe they would go in that direction, and then Bulma's just kind of like understanding it, and then she'll eventually take place. But
many options. This has been a great episode, Josh.
Was your third?
Like I said, that was my 0.5 to throw in.
Oh,
to build off of your point. I'm not feeling strong enough about the other things I had in mind. You had an honorable mention. Did you want to just spit that out?
It was basically just like a Dragon Ball MMO would be nice. I know there was one that kind of was like a thing-ish in like 2012. Online. Yeah, 2012, 2013, but it was so whatever. It was just very buggy, and people didn't really like how everything worked, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't really universally supported or globally supported. So that kind of sucks. But if they actually had like a Bandai or whatever made like an actual official MMORPG, like Dragon Ball, like MMO, I think it'd be really cool. As long as it's not some pay to win shit. If you have to pay to play it, it's probably going to be better than if it's free to play, though. I will say that, because usually for the paid games, they're like, okay, well, since you already paid for the actual game, most of like everything's free to play kind of thing at the end. Whereas like free to play games, they always have like this currency shit, microtransactions. So
it's so true, yeah. So I got you then on all fronts, because recently we've had the data for Dragon Ball Online. We've had some people get access to that, and they've created private servers. And I say recently, but they've had some time now to fix shit and to like make it operate well. And so Josh, I know you and me you primarily, I have also played private servers on other games. MapleStory is one where we've had a lot of fun with that. But when it comes to Dragon Ball Online, that is also an option. So definitely look into it. Do your research.
I will.
Yeah. And you don't have to worry as much about like microtransactions and shit too.
That's true. We just can't support it in terms because it's But yeah.
I do not condone any of what I have just mentioned. Beep, boop, bop.
I mean, we're not part of Red Ribbon today. We're off work.
What do you mean? No, what do you mean?
No, that's a new hat you got there.
Yeah, Mac Miller Circles. That's what it is. Or Swimming in Circles.
Oh, okay, I see. Didn't that album do well? Like in terms of, didn't it win something? Didn't it win a Grammy?
Swimming may have. I'm not.
That's the one where he's sitting down with his bare feet out.
I'm not sure.
Where he's like sitting down.
Mac's done that quite a bit.
The 2018 one, is that the one you're talking about? Oh, okay. Yeah. I feel like that's his most popular one.
There's Swimming, and then there's Circles, and he actually recorded both albums. Didn't finish 100% Circles, but then for the year after his passing, or a couple years after his passing, the producer that he was working on Circles with finished Swimming with, did Circles, and it's considered the Swimming in Circles like project.
I see.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah. So basically, what we're saying is put Mac Miller in Dragon Ball Z. This has been the Dragon Ball Fan Podcast. Mac, I don't know why I said Mac. Josh, Do you have any rhymes that you wanna
I just want to say thanks to all our Spotify listeners. First and foremost,
I know why.
We know who you are. I mean, no, that we don't. That's kind of weird. But we know we have listeners. Is what we acknowledging you basically. Yeah, if you have not checked out our YouTube, definitely go there, give us a sub. Maybe you catch us on a live as well. If you guys have not realized, we were a bit behind on Spotify for a little bit, but Kaiser over here he just shoved the content in your face. He posted 2 in one day last week. So you guys should all be caught up on Spotify. And yeah, we're all caught up to speed now. We were a little busy for a few weeks, so things were a little bit behind. And
it hasn't stopped being busy.
Yeah, and it's not going to stop yet, but we assure you guys, there's a lot coming. We keep saying this, by the way, but we're actually being serious though. Like, we actually have a lot of stuff coming here. It's just a small little hiccup through this time on the channel, but it is what it is. Because
I'm not apologizing, if I'm honest, because we're just like two dudes do it using spare time to do this, and it's it's hard for us to when life gets busy to of course stay consistent as far as days and times. Sometimes we do try to do the shows every week, of course everyone knows life gets busy and it gets hard to juggle stuff, but we still try to put out content every week. And we want to add in some really cool stuff, and we are going to add that cool stuff in, and we're really excited to shoot and share it. But yeah, that's gonna come. It's gonna come soonish, and when it comes out, we're gonna make sure that it's something that we're proud of, and that hopefully you are of as well. So definitely look out for that in the near future. And thank you for anyone that is here for it and here for this.
Yeah, shoot and shit it.
Shoot and shit it. Thank you. This has been the Dragon Ball Fan Podcast. That is Sky. I am Kaiser, and this has been a great episode. See you in the next one.
Face to face and bar to bar, I learned to chase the pain and arm the scars, and my tail fire that's a Charizard. Then we aim